Hi, PMI CIC. My name is Florence. I am your current VP of Publicity and Sponsorship. And I thought it would be a perfect time to do a volunteer spotlight. And the volunteer of honor today is Erica Hutchinson. She's currently aligned with the Publicity and Sponsorship Office, so my area. And so I'm hoping for the next 25 minutes or so, we'll get to know Erica. We'll get to find out a little bit about her background, her PMI why PMI CIC, and basically just try to get to know the rest of the publicity team. We are currently a 2-woman team. And so this should be a good 25 to 30-minute conversation. This will be a totally informal conversation with Erica. We're just gonna talk and basically have a good time. So without further ado, I wanna present my guest of honor, Erica Hutchinson.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Erica.
How are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. And thank you so much for making time and getting this done, because I've been telling you, I want to do an interview with you, and it's just finding the time with everything going on. So here we are, finally it's happening.
Yes.
So Erica, what brought you to PMI CIC? But before we get into that, I want you to tell our members and guests or anybody who happened to come across this recording, who are you? Like, what's your background? Anything on the personal side that you don't mind sharing with us?
Yeah, so I'm Erica Hutchinson, and I live here in Houston, Texas. I've been here since 2001, but I'm not originally a Texan. Both my parents were military. They were both Air Force. So I was actually born in Tampa, Florida, but didn't stay there long. Like literally after I was born, we were shipped over to Germany. So I've been all over, but my original home is Philadelphia. All my family on my mom's side, my mom's born and raised in Philly. Everyone's in Philly. I've always, went there in Philly. My parents were shipped in Korea. And so I actually stayed back in Philadelphia. They didn't take me as a little girl. So Philly's my first home. Then, they landed in Austin, Texas, and I grew up in Austin, Texas. And then in 2001, as an adult, I moved here to Houston. I have 2 beautiful, wonderful girls that I love them to death. They're teenage girls. So, with the teenage girls, you get the little headache with them. But one is a senior coming up, and my other one is in 10th grade. So I'm a single mom, and it's just a blessing. That's one of the biggest blessings that God has given me is to be a mom. Some of the hobbies, I play keyboards. I love musical instruments. I love singing, doing voiceover work. I would love to do that professionally as well. If I could just do project management and voiceover, I would do all of that. But I also ride and own a sport bike, Kawasaki Ninja. And I'm in an all-women's motorcycle club. And it's shocking for a lot of people because I'm only 4'11". So, and those bikes go really fast, and I'm safe, but I have a need for the speed, So yeah, that's one thing about me. I'm
How long you been riding?
I got my M endorsement, my license in 2011. My dad rode motorcycles, so as a little girl, I always get on the back of his bike. He would take me, on the base, Air Force Base, and ride me around. So I enjoyed it. And it was just, I was into cars at first, into sound systems and that type of thing. And then I just started getting into motorcycles. I actually put all these LED lights on it, on my wheels. I had purple and blue lights, and they would spin at night. It was just fun. So yeah,
That does sound fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think in my mind, or someday when I get the daredevil spirit, hit me, I will get on the back of a motorcycle, but not yet. Until then, I'm just gonna watch you guys. It looks very cool though. It really does.
It is. It's I have to be mindful, and I always pray, before I leave out, because here in Houston, just being in the car, it's just dangerous, the roadways here. And so on the motorcycle, it can be dangerous,
Right.
and so I'm constantly just engaged. I'm always looking, but I do enjoy it. It's just right now so hot here in Houston, and having on your gear and your helmet. I'm at
Yeah.
the stoplight, like, can you hear it turn green? I'm hot, hot. But yeah, if you're interested in motorcycles, some ladies, it's hard for them because, two wheels, manual transmission. They have the ones, I don't call them motorcycles, but the three-wheelers. So
The
you may want to look
tricycle
into
for the
that.
big.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And it's automatic. So
That is
yeah.
a very interesting hobby.
Yeah.
Now, as far as your professional background,
Mhm.
I was interested in it. That was one of the things that sold you to me. And I kind of thought you would be a great person for this project coordinator person that I was looking for. Can you tell me a little bit about your work experience and what you've done as far as the nonprofit side of it too? Because you've done corporate, I guess for profit and
Mhm.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
So
So, like right now, I'm not working. So I'm open for work right now
right.
for the networking side. So I have abundance of time, or more time than, I'm a mom. And so I'm busy with that, but I do have time to give. And this was a perfect opportunity for me, being that I am, searching for something. But prior to, let me go before my nonprofit, I worked for, I don't know if you've ever heard of United Health Group
Yes.
Insurance.
Yes.
United Healthcare, which is the medical managed healthcare insurance company, they have the sister company under United Health Group umbrella, which is Optum. It used to be called United Behavioral Health. And basically, they manage the behavioral health managed healthcare insurance. So if you need to see a licensed therapist, counselor, social worker, that's who your insurance would be through, if that's what you have. And so the department I specifically worked in was network management, facility contracts. So I would actually touch the contracts that our contract managers would negotiate rates, per diems, language negotiations. That's what they did. And so we would support them and make sure that all of the information was loaded into all of the downstream systems. So it was very technical. I think I touched like 6, 7 systems. And I was there from 2002 to 2016. And also in that role, I was promoted and became what's called a SME, or subject matter expert. And then I took on even more duties, a lot of conference calls, several per week, but I also was doing training, facilitating, like our new hires, creating training guides from scratch. And I really enjoyed that. And I had such a supportive manager that was one of those where if she saw talents in you, she would take that and just allow you to run with it, like, hey, I trust you with this, let's do that. So it actually allowed me to be more hands-on, to do more tasks. So I really enjoyed that role. And then some years passed, and then I did a lot of volunteering in between there, which actually got me to YWCA, which is a nonprofit organization. And they, here in Houston, they do a lot of the Meals on the Wheels program. But here in Houston, oh goodness, I can't even remember. So much time has passed. We had Hurricane Harvey that happened. And so a lot of our citizens were just devastation, homes lost, underwater, people needed hygiene products. And so during that time, I would take my kids with me, and we would volunteer, like at YWCA, go door to door giving to care packages to seniors. But then an opportunity presented itself where they were hiring for disaster relief case managers. And it was a grant funded position. And so I got on that role, and got paid for it, but it was great to work in the nonprofit sector as well, because you're really giving. You're there for a purpose. There are people who need you. There's a need, and you're there to fill that need and that void in people's lives. So we actually was building this program from the ground up. to the point of we would create the intake application forms, created that from scratch. We went in, each of the case managers were assigned zip codes, and we would go and build our clientele. Like I would go to churches, I would go to public libraries, set up, all of the YWCA and say, this is what we're about, can I sign you up? Let me see if you qualify. We would go to home visits and get them on board with home repairs, give like grocery gift cards. And although I never had the title project management, a lot of project management transferable skills were entailed. For instance, I had to see projects through. When we would onboard our clients, I also had to manage the contractors that were doing the home repair. So I would have to drive out to the homes, making sure that we're on target, making sure that it's within the budget, we're not going over budget for my client's home. And so I really enjoyed that piece. And it was you would be passionate. You would have to have that personality and that nurturing to be able to even cry with your clients, console them. Sometimes you have to deliver not so good news. So you have to do it in a way where you're being compassionate, but you also have to be able to do your role in your task at hand, So I enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that very much.
Yes.
Both
And
those roles.
That's one of the reasons that I thought you would be perfect for the project coordinator role, because I wanted to find somebody who could tag team with me, be my partner in crime, if you will, and basically help me with mini tasks, mini projects, really, because each event that the publicity office organizes is basically a project in itself. And because there's the promotional side, there's creating the content and for social media. So there's a lot that goes into the office. And so I wanted someone in the project coordinator role, and you fit the bill. Now, interestingly enough, we have our connection goes back to this social media Facebook group that I'm a part of. It's for Black women who are in project management, program management. So it's basically a mix of newbies and matured ladies, experienced ladies. And we connected off a post. I don't even think it was my post. It was somebody else who posted about wanting to volunteer. And I chimed in. I said, well, I'm looking for volunteers. And I think I listed like 2 or 3 positions. And then you commented, and along with several other ladies commented. And then here we are. I think we met virtually last May. And so it's been a couple of months of working together, of getting you up to speed, training you up. And how has this been, this experience, the last 3-4 months?
I very much
learned from the position. Is it what did I oversell it? How are you liking it?
Before I go into that, I just want to kind of piggyback on meeting you in the group.
Okay, yes.
It's because I remember that like yesterday, I would go in the group and I would just read, I wouldn't be, I never really posted. I just was reading. I was learning a lot. And I knew that I wanted to get, a little bit more true hands-on project management experience, or kind of like with that title, how can I do it? Can I find a mentor? And so I saw your comment, and I was talking myself out of it. I had what's called the imposter syndrome, where you're like, you have this one voice like, oh, you got talent, you're good, but this one's like, no, you don't have project management title, you're not a PMP certification. But I was like, what do you have to lose? So I chimed in, I emailed, I said, guess what? I don't live in the state of Illinois. Can I do it? I'm in Texas. And you were like, oh, it doesn't matter. With technology, we can get it done. And so you were very inviting, it was very relaxing, no intimidation at all. You're like, we're just going to work through it and do it as we go. And, so it's been a lot. It's a lot of information. I will say that I've learned a lot. And it's crazy because it's a volunteer position, but it almost feels like it's a paid position because there are expectations, there are deadlines, there are new things. For me, there's a lot of new things that I've learned. For instance, I've never worked a Trello Kanban board,
Yeah.
and so it's exciting to know that you've taken your time and you're a great teacher, you're a great leader, you're very patient, and I can tell you enjoy what you do as well. And it's funny because I forget that you're volunteering because you do so much. I'm like, you would think she's getting paid for it because I mean, she's really in there. Florence, you're really in there. And you also work full time. So that's aspiring to me for someone kind of, won't say inexperienced, but new in this realm of project management.
Right.
So learning like the Trello Kanban board, utilizing what's Slack. I've never heard of Slack. We know what's that called? WhatsApp app
Yeah.
and everything else. But
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is neat. This is nice, and then there's the Star chapter where you're kind of like building, our chapter website. I'm learning that, and I like the fact that we meet a couple times out of the week and you're so open to that because you're a full-time mother as well and you work. So you've been very receptive on learning, you're even like, I'll record the sessions and then I go back to the recording, that we've done. And I'm like, okay, this is how she showed me how to do this, how I'll add this event. And I utilize that, I take notes and I'm very grateful for everything that I've learned because there's a lot of good technology that I actually probably can add on my resume from doing this. So thank you.
Exactly. I love Trello.
Mhm.
I'm not a micromanager, but I like to be organized. I love Trello. And so I made sure when I started that I would just break down the work that I felt like we would be doing for the year. And so I have cards basically broken down to the lowest level, sometimes high level, because I just don't want to forget things. And so Trello has been a wonderful tool, even for me, doing this. And also Slack, I love it. So as far as the project coordinator, I've had you on a bunch of things. I mean, obviously there's the social media, getting you accesses to be able to do posts and coming up with captions. And you've taken that lately and been running with that. You've been running with Monday Motivation, which is something that I bought in to try to bring some positivity, uplift the chapter every Monday morning.
Mhm.
So you've taken that over for me, and that was what I was looking for. Somebody who can come in. I'll teach them what I think they should be doing. They'll come and then take it at their own spin, and that's what you've done with some of the social media content that you've been pushing out. How do you have a process? Do you just feel it and you just go with the flow?
Mhm.
For something like Monday Morning Motivation, because that's basically now your baby.
Yeah.
Every Monday.
Well, I love PowerPoint. So, coming into this role, I have some experience in a lot of the Microsoft applications as well as some of the Google. So I enjoy working with the PowerPoint. And again, as you say, you're not a micromanager. So in the beginning, I was like, before I send this slide out, or this motivation slide, how does this look? And at first I kept it real simple. I'm like, oh, let me play with it. I'm a perfectionist. So I want to go find, like, it'll take me forever to find a quote because I want to find a quote. Like I'm thinking to myself, okay, I did this type of quote last week. Let me do a different type of quote, because I know that we have different audience. So I want something that's going to capture and tell for each, person. I don't want to keep it, the same every week. And so what I'll do is I'll find a nice quote and then I'll find a picture that speaks to the quote. So I actually look for the quote first, then the picture. But there was one time I found the picture. I said, well, I love this picture. And I kept it. And I said, let me go find a quote that's going to fit that picture.
Yes.
So I just don't throw anything. I'm not going to put just a pretty sky out there and find something. I'm actually going to find something that's going to work together and speak together. And then I play with the fonts and, and the coloring. And I enjoy that. I like to be creative. And I like the fact that, you allow me to run with that, and I don't even have to show it to you anymore. It's like,
Right.
just publish
And
it.
what you just shared is that the creative process, like design, it's not linear. It's not like you do this, this, this. Sometimes it's the picture that's the inspiration and you work backwards.
Mhm,
So, but besides that, you've been working on events, you've been putting events out on our website,
mhm,
you've been doing email blasts to our members and our
mhm,
roster of uh, emails and
mhm.
everything. So how has that been like for you? Anything you can talk about, any kind of quick comment on
Yeah.
the other things that you work on?
So I again, this is exciting, and to speak to as a volunteer, and hopefully speaking to our future volunteers that want to be part of this process. Um, it's exciting to me because I'm learning. I love learning new things. It's almost like a give and take relationship we have here. It's an input output. For me, my takeaways is, okay, I'm learning this, and this is something that I can utilize. And being that I'm learning this and getting good at it, the output is, okay, I'm going to put, some good depth on our social media sites. I'm going to educate those of, hey, this is an event. This event may speak to you. We have the Killing the Project event coming up with Rachel. It might speak to someone. Are you having a hard time with your task? Do you feel like you're just pulled in all kind of directions and deadlines everywhere? And because I know I feel like that, and so I when I'm writing, certain content for it, that's how I speak, to the audience, like, okay, let me market this in a way that will bring them in, because we want you to register,
Exactly.
because it helps you. And then for the PMI members, you get some PDO credits for it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's really important to me that we just don't put something out there and no verbiage with it. We want it
Yeah.
to be catchy. We want it to be
Yeah.
fun. And I thank you for allowing the freedom to do that. I'm still learning, and so I'll run stuff by you. One other thing is you've allowed me to kind of come in and bring a person on. I didn't even think that was something I was able to do.
Rachel.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes, and
Yes.
that wasn't even my task or role, but I was like, hey, I know someone that can I pitch it to them, and can I bring them on as a speaker? And you were okay with it. So I thank you for that flexibility and for just being, it's just so easy to work with you and to do
Thank
this role. And
you.
I'm excited for it. Yeah. Thank you for that.
And I'm glad you kind of brought Rachel to my attention, because I was part of that group, but I've never, it's just so many people, so many
Mhm,
thought leaders, and
mhm,
there's just so many of them. And so
mhm.
I'm
A
glad
lot of
you connected
talented
me to
people.
Rachel. And what I've done is to, again, every event is a mini project. I've made sure that you saw, from you sourcing her, I kind of like sat in the driver's seat with you, and
Mhm,
so you could see from the planning all the way to the very last task that we'll do. So
mhm,
on the 18th is when we will have Erica's speaker, basically with us, Rachel Kaiser. Her presentation title is Killing the Project,
mhm,
how to successfully manage projects with aggressive timelines.
mhm.
It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. next Thursday. All of our events are virtual at this point. How are you liking that? Do you like the flexibility? With you being in Houston,
Mhm.
I think I know the answer, but how are you liking the virtualness of our chapter?
I think with technology in this day and age post COVID, I think this is now our new norm. Remote is now the new norm. Virtual is now the new norm. And I don't look at it as a negative. I look at it as it gives a wider net of accessibility. Like,
Mhm.
it would be a time where you'd be like, oh, I can't go to that event because I can't get a ticket and fly there in time, or, I can't reserve a hotel. This is a great event, but it's in Illinois, or it's in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, virtual, yes, you can. You're just
Mm-hmm.
going to click, and there you go. And
Yeah.
you don't have to miss out on anything, because you're still getting the same quality speaker. It's just on your screen. You can still engage. You have the chat feature where you could type in questions, or,
Mm-hmm.
if they allow you open floor, you could speak, through the video. And so I love that. I love the fact that I'm not limited to volunteer because I'm not in your city and state. Yes, we do have a Houston chapter here, and we have a great chapter. But what really sold me, or you sold me on your chapter, is because you were smaller. Here at Houston, we're the fourth largest city, but you're smaller, and really busy chapter, and there's a lot to do. Hey, I'm going to be kept busy, more learning for me. So
Yeah.
it was a no-brainer for that. And because
And
it's
I would
virtual.
say, to compare the Houston chapter, not that I'm intimately aware of how they're set up, but I would imagine that our structure is flatter, meaning the lines of command easily is easier to navigate. I would assume. Whereas even with you finding Rachel, you came to me directly. You didn't have to go through
Mhm,
different layers, and you just went straight
because we're
to me, and
smaller.
I was able to say, yeah, let's do it. I
Mhm.
looked into it. Yeah, let's do it. So there's not, with the smaller chapter, you get more exposure, you get more freedom to make the volunteer experience what you want it to be.
Yes.
That's my take on it, and I think that would be your take
Yes.
too.
Definitely. And it's so
Yeah.
weird, my kids, like they're in with me. They'll listen to the calls sometimes that I have with you, and the work, and they hear me say, oh, I got to get on my laptop and I got to get some stuff done. And it's weird to say I'm volunteering, because it I it's going to sound bad. It feels like work, but that's a good thing. It's not, I don't want to say it feels like work, meaning, oh, I'm tied to a desk, or I'm tied to these hours and these days, and Monday you got to go. No, it feels like work because it's actually structured in a way that there are actually deadlines that need to be met. We need to get speakers on board. There's a need, because when you think of volunteer, you're like, oh, I'll go in when I go in. They don't
Yeah.
need me. And no, there's a need there, but yet, being that there's a need and is busy, there's still the flexibility of, hey, as long as you can hit that deadline, if you want to put in an hour per day, if you want to do 2 hours, do it all on Monday, that's fine. If you want to do it at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. like me,
Like you've done.
fine. Yeah,
And
yeah. And I like that.
I will even admit myself, like I've burned the midnight oil too a couple times, just because there were just so many things before I had you, where it would be like midnight, 1 o'clock. I would be working on something like the newsletter, trying to finish it up. Um, so the flexibility, even for me, being virtual, and
Mhm.
the fact that, I don't really have, my president, she's not over me. She's not like I have the freedom to kind of make my day, make my own schedule. I
Mhm.
just have my deadlines. If it's from her or from I just try to work within that. You just self-organize
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
As long as you have good time management skills,
And
the amount of,
communication skills as well, because
yes,
we communicate.
yes,
If I feel like, uh-oh, I don't know if I'm gonna, be able to hit that, I'm able to communicate with you, and maybe we'll come up with another solution. And you're very open, to that,
right.
and I appreciate that.
One thing I do try to push is the fact that this is not brand new to us, like the tasks that we have to do, especially the creative stuff. If we have a way to cut down the work, I encourage you, even myself, I encourage myself to reuse a lot. And so it's work, it's a lot of work, but it's not like, it's doable. It's
Yeah.
doable.
Hmm.
It's
It is.
doable.
Yeah. Mhm.
So you usually, when I first met you, especially, you used to say, you don't have a lot of project management experience. And I kind of said, really? I thought you did. I don't know. Yeah, you don't have your PMP, but you don't need a PMP to
Mhm.
volunteer. And I think that has proven to be true, right?
Yeah,
Like I didn't
very true.
mislead, misled you
Right, right.
in
Yeah.
that.
Well,
So
I don't have a direct title project management. And I think for a newbie like myself, mate in that imposter syndrome I told you about,
yeah,
I think that's where I get caught up with, and I need
right.
to get out of my own head, because I have great letters of recommendations from people that I've worked with, old managers, as like, you're awesome. So I have a great transferable skills, where I showcase, hey, I followed up with, in my case, like with YWCA, my stakeholders were the contractors doing the build of the home. I need to make sure you're on time, because, we need to get them back in their homes. And then, of course, my clients. So yeah, I have those transferable skills, but just to have an actual official title of like project coordinator or, assistant project coordinator, something like that is my goal career wise. If I had to live in a perfect world, HR project management or in the healthcare, because that's my
Mhm.
background, that's exactly where I really would like to be. But what I'm doing now, I love that. It's like I said, I'm learning new things. I'm keeping busy, and the PMI is recognized globally.
Yes.
It's a well-respected institution, and I'm
Yes.
so blessed to be part of it. And I thank you for
Yes.
that I'm able to, be part of seeing events through, and being part of PMI, and the thing about going to these events, just to say, you don't have to be a PMI member. We have members that aren't PMI members that register for some of these events, because it's a takeaway for you. It's a lot of good learning out there to be had.
Yep.
So thank you. I love it.
Now, you don't need to be a PMI member to volunteer. I would love for you to be a PMI member, because the world of project management opens up, the network opens up even wider.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually I'll try to convince you eventually to get your membership. But for the time being, it's not a requirement, it's not a prerequisite to volunteer. And that has proven to be true.
Oh,
Likewise,
I meant the events. I'm sorry. You don't
yes,
have to be a PMI member to attend the events. We have
right.
like
Anybody.
non-members.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our events, pretty much every chapter that I'm aware of, their events they're open to public.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, students, anybody. Sometimes there's a fee for our events. We do charge. Sometimes we don't charge, especially when we have partnerships, which is another thing I introduced this year, more partnerships with other chapters. And
Yeah.
you've been there along with me watching
Mm-hmm.
how that goes down. What do
Yeah.
you think
Great
about
job.
that?
I think that is a great job, and the kudos to you for that collaboration, because it also, to me, it just brings the chapters in more closely as a unit, because again, what's the end goal is to educate those. Like, for instance, we had an event that kind of collaborated with the Baton Rouge chapter, and that
Yes.
was a great event about
Last week.
dashboards,
Yeah.
best practices, and that was some good knowledge, and it was free. That was a free one. Like,
Yep, last Tuesday. I was
yes,
thinking last week. Yep, last
yes,
Tuesday. Yeah.
yes.
And
Um,
then I met them through social media,
mhm,
LinkedIn, and just been talking with different chapter presidents, different VPs, and I'm
mhm,
making those connections and trying to bring content over, which is
yeah,
more work, and which is why I needed a volunteer, because
mhm,
with just me, there's no way I could have done what I've gotten done in the last 4 months,
yes,
even
yes.
by myself. There's just no way. You've been a wonderful help, a wonderful partner.
Thank
Um,
you.
so I'm looking forward to the next couple of months, to wrapping up 2022 strong, to maybe having you come back for 2023,
Oh yeah.
because my reign ends in 2023. So it's a 2-year position. So I'm
Okay.
hoping to still have you and maybe one other person in our team, because I think, there's enough work for one more, maybe two more volunteer to
Yes.
come in and help us that way, because we want the chapter to move forward. We want the chapter to grow, and there's no way for that to happen without the events, without the engagement.
Yes.
Don't just look at our social media, engage with our posts, like,
Yes.
comment, things
Comment.
like that. So
Give
we want
feedback.
exactly. We
Mhm.
want the engagement with the members and anybody who happens to stumble on our pages. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook,
Mhm.
YouTube, Instagram, Twitter,
Mhm.
and TikTok.
TikTok. TikTok.
TikTok now.
Yep.
So
TikTok.
the TikTok one, that's like something we're just I think I dipped my toe in.
Mhm.
I'm still trying to
Still
figure
new.
out,
Mhm.
what kind of content that would be appropriate for TikTok, but we have to, as chapters, we have to get on those platforms so we can stay relevant and be where the younger people are, the younger generation. Wherever they go, we have to follow them.
And I
So
have some ideas for the TikTok one, and we'll talk about that on our
yes,
touch point meeting. Because one thing, you and I, we meet at least once a week, although it's been several times a week, but it's so much fun. I don't even think about like, oh, gotta meet. I don't even think about it because again, we enjoy it, but then we handle the business. And so like I make sure I keep my notes here and I have an idea for the TikTok one on our next meeting. And that's what it's like to volunteer here. And this will be the expectation that you have there's an open door policy where you can easily communicate, with Florence, if you work with her. I'm easy to get along. I love a good laugh, and just your talents, you bring them, we need them. And here
and I
you
would
are.
say every other office needs all the offices, as far as I know, need a volunteer or two. Membership, education, professional development.
There's a need out there.
There's a need, there is a position, there's a task for anybody. So just reach out to us, my office. If you're interested in my office, you just want to email, you can email me or find me on LinkedIn. But the email address is VP_PMI-CIC.org. So V Victor P Peter _ PMI-CIC.org. That's my email. And if I happen to not have something that you like, I will definitely forward your interests, forward your information to the next VP, to our president, and then somebody will find you something. There's so much to do to make PMI-CIC a relevant chapter, keep us, going, keep us growing, and just be better than we were, especially with COVID, impacting engagement. So we need to kind of get back and start connecting with each other. And so the publicity office, that's what I'm trying to do. Just make sure that the chapter is front and center, that you guys know we're out here, that you guys know that we have events and things of that nature. Do you have, I have a question for you, a parting question. So this has been a very interesting experience. You had that imposter syndrome at first and everything. If you could talk back to like a younger version of yourself, say the 18-year-old Erica or the 25-year-old Erica, what would you tell her?
I would say, get out of your own way. That brain, that mind, and this is something I tell my kids now, this will limit you. You have all the tools you need to be successful and great. Sometimes we as human beings, we talk ourselves out of it for whatever fear of, failure, anxiety, or maybe you can't see yourself there, oh, I don't want to put my resume in because I know everyone else is applying for it. I'm going to drown out. Just do it. You know, if I had to go back to 18 years, I would be like, focus, get it done. I decided to get my bachelor's degree a little bit later. I actually had kids. I had to, when I was working at Optum and I just was promoted, I'm balancing, working a full-time job, getting my bachelor's degree and a new baby, and I said, hey, I don't want to just get my bachelor's degree. I want to make sure I get a 3.85 GPA and above, so juggle. So I know how to juggle, I know how to multitask. I know how to speak, and so I wish at 18 I had that confidence, to articulate, to engage, to have that vigor, and just I wish I had that at 18. So that's why now I teach my kids that, like, get your degree for high school, boom, straight college, get that knowledge. I would like my child, she's 17, but I want her to be involved, with PMI. She can volunteer when,
Yes.
she's 18, because she actually showed some interest in it. So
And,
I want her to start now.
and what's great about project management, it's needed across industries.
Oh yeah.
So at 18 or as a young college student, she doesn't necessarily need to know exactly what she wants to do or where she'll end up working at. But project management is so versatile that even if she interns, with us or any chapter, it's a good experience that will serve her well wherever she goes.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's just such a versatile career path, field, whatever you want to call it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
You hit it on the nail. And it's a field that it's growing, like in the market, like there's a need there, and there's different industries. If you're interested in construction, hey, project manager there. Ed tech field, the education realm, hey, they need it there. If you want to go the technology route, me, healthcare, love HR, boom. So you hit it right on the nail. And I just think that it just builds your skill set. It kind of allows you to get your feet wet and learn new things. That's what I'm liking about this volunteering, because I am learning, and then you meet people, like on the different event calls, you engage when they do the breakout rooms, you engage with other people. And I made some LinkedIn connections that way.
Yes.
And so I just enjoyed this experience, and I definitely plan on staying put and volunteering, even when I'm going to speak it into existence whenever I get my job,
Yes.
I still am going to volunteer because I enjoy doing this.
Right. And it's doable, part-time, even just, time management is what it will end up coming down to.
Oh yeah.
So is there anything, last question, or anything you want to say, or I can kind of wrap up for today's volunteer spotlight?
No, I like I said, I just give, and I've said this to you many times. I'm just impressed with you, because you're kind of new in this role that you're in, fairly new, but you wouldn't think it, and I'm like, like I said, I have to keep reminding myself, okay, she's volunteering as well, but you wouldn't think it because you just give of yourself so much, and I'm glad that, you and we can work well together, because regardless, hypothetically, we know in life it's not perfect. And I teach my kids this, there'll be times where you may not work well with someone, but you still have a role to play. You still have a task at hand. So you have to learn how to shift gears and know how to deal with different types of people, still be professional and get the task done. I'm just blessed to be able to work with you, and you love teaching as well, because I think you can say I've come in and I haven't really been shy or timid.
No, you're not shy at all. Shy and Erica that don't go together at all.
I'll come in with ideas. I'll take the lead if I need to. Whatever.
And that's what I want. And that's what I want. And that's what every other director or VP or our president would say, we don't want wallflowers. We want
Yeah.
people with something to say,
Mhm.
people who want to leave a mark, on our chapter and our local community, and also the wider PMI community. So
Right.
I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
And it's been a wonderful 4 months working with you, training you, even though we've had technical challenges and getting accesses, and you just always just roll along with it, and it's so good to have a volunteer who is flexible, because like you said, I am technically experienced, but at the same time, I'm learning along the way with you.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I just enjoy working with you and having you on my team. And I hope you come back and stay for as long as you want to, whether or not you have a full-time job or part-time job, and
Mhm.
that I still get to have you around, because I truly love working with you.
Well, thank you so much. And the other board members, before I even officially started, you made sure that I met with the other board members just to make sure, everything meshed well. And then Bobby, he was great as well. And, he gave up some time to all meet. And like I said, everyone's just very passionate. They're all volunteering, but you would never think it, because everyone is just doing what they need to do as a team and coming up with great results. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So to conclude our time today, I just want to say again, on the 18th of August, we will have Rachel Kaiser with us in a wonderful presentation, Killing Projects, How to Successfully Manage Projects with Aggressive Timelines. It'll be a virtual event from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Please go on our website, pmi-cic.org, and go under our events area and basically register. Not only do we have that event on the 18th, we also have a Brain and Land session coming up for career development. It's a webinar, it's a boot camp for 5 hours on Saturday, August 27th, and it's in partnership with the Dallas chapter. So sign up for that as well. Keep checking our event page, because we are adding events basically every week or every other week. We're in conversations with so many people. So keep checking the webpage, keep checking your emails, because myself and Erica, we're the ones behind those email blasts and reaching out and pushing content and making sure you guys know what's happening throughout the chapter. And follow us on social media too, because we want to have engagement. We want you to like our posts, comment, don't just look at the post, comment, like them, and then
let us know you're there.
Register. Yeah, let us know you guys are seeing it or watching it, and the content speaks to you. That's what we're after.
Yeah.
So
and
Erica,
feedback. We like feedback. You can inbox on some of the sites. You can inbox us. I think there's Messenger or one of them. You can inbox us and we're checking.
Yep. Send us connections. Follow our pages. Basically, again, we're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and like I said, TikTok. So follow us. And let's just stop here, and then we will make sure this recording is available on all of our platforms that are suitable, obviously. And then just reach out to us if you feel like you want to be a volunteer, you want to look into volunteering. Just reach out to me and I will connect you with something. If I don't have what you need, I will connect you to the next office and basically take it from there. All right. So Erica, again, it was great chatting with you. It's been wonderful to have you in my office, working with you. And so I will be in touch shortly, because we have a lot of work coming up.
We do. And even for September, we're getting ready for some, I think you have a September guest coming up in the pipeline. So,
and not only that, we have Professional Development Day coming up in September. So we have a lot going on. We're looking at our, let's see, October event, November events. So there's a lot coming up.
Yeah.
So reach out to us. That we cannot have too many volunteers. That's basically the
And
bottom line.
also, if you are a speaker or educator,
Yeah.
and if you think you have a good topic and some speaking points, we
Yep.
may want to discuss with you and
Yep.
and look at booking you for an event,
There you
in the
go.
upcoming months. So,
There you go. Yep, just reach out to me. Again, my email is vp_publicity@pmi-cic.org. V as in Victor, P as in Peter, okay, _ PMI-cic.org.
Underscore publicity.
Publicity.
VP underscore
Oh,
publicity.
did I not say that? Oh,
On the second time around, you forgot. It's a lot. That's why.
let's do it again. Let's do it again, right? VP_publicity at PMI-cic.org. Get
Yep.
that. And I'll make sure the email address and any other contact information is in the verbiage that goes along with this video. It's getting late. So let's just call it a day, and I will be seeing you later, Erica.
All right. See y'all.
All
Thank
right.
y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.